Hello, lovelies. Welcome to Horror 421, the podcast, with your host, your friendly small-town horror author, Charles Campbell. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the frights in this week's episode.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Horror 421, the podcast. I'm your host, small town horror author Charles Campbell, and today I have a special episode. I've never done a movie review on this podcast before, so today I'm going to do my first. I don't have any guests on this episode, but I'm hoping to get guests from the movie that I am about to review. I do want to start off by saying I have seen one of the main actors work in previous films. So I want to bring up Skeletons in the Closet. This was directed by a friend of mine named Tony Wash. It's an anthology film. And the young lady in the middle in the white is Ellie Church. And she plays the widow in this movie. And she's in a cool wraparound story in this anthology. So shout out to Ellie. I mention her because she is the main star of the film that I'm going to review today. And it's called Gush. And it's a feature film from Bandit Motion Pictures, and it's starring Ellie Church, Alyss Winkler, and Jason Crowe. Those are the three main players in the film. It's written and directed by Brian K. Williams and Scott Schirmer. Those guys have done a great job on previous films, but this one stands out to me. I saw, an Indiegogo campaign a few months ago on this, and it piqued my interest, so I got involved and got the limited edition Blu-ray. I got number 134 out of 250. But I'm going to get into this film in just a moment. But if you go to banditmotionpictures.com, you'll find a variety of work done by Brian and Scott. Did pick up a movie called The Bad Man a few weeks ago, and this one this one's not for the weak at heart. Ellie did a fantastic job in this movie, and so did Jason. Jason's in this. One thing I do notice about these films is that you see some of the same actors in these motion pictures, which is a great thing because they have great chemistry and they work well with one another. I've seen Alyss in a few of the films, Plank Face being one, where she played Bunny Girl, I believe was the character. Plank Face, Harvest Lake is another great movie. If you go to banditmotionpictures.com, you'll see a great selection of films. And Ellie has starred in, I think all of them, or she's played parts. Space Base from Outer Space. She did a great, and Alyss was in that as well. Had great comedic turns in that movie. And Ellie, even though she played a tortured character in Gush, some of her comedy chops still shine through. There are a couple of moments where I chuckled with a couple of the lines that she had. But what can I say about Gush? It kind of grabs you at the beginning. I want to give a big kudos to Brian and Scott for coming up with such a gripping and original story. We kind of wanted to get in their brains with this one a little bit. But as the movie begins, we find Ellie Church's character, horror novelist. Ironically enough, I'm a horror novelist. Sally Harkley is still, trying to cope with the death of her baby after a tragic accident. So the film opens, with her at the accident scene, and it's not a pretty sight. But in her professional life, she has released two hit books of a trilogy, and she can't find the motivation to move forward to complete the series, and rightfully so. She lost her child after being 8 months pregnant. That has to be devastating to a married couple. This puts a strain on their marriage. Her husband is played by Jason Crowe, and he does a fantastic job as her husband as well. Um, he wants to be physically affectionate with Sally, but she can't do it. She can't move on. She doesn't want to write this book. She doesn't want to, be physical with her husband. She just kind of wants to be left alone. Is the way I took it watching the film. But her pesky publisher Owen is kind of on her back to finish this third book, and she hasn't even started yet. But he gives her an opportunity. He has a secluded place. It's not the Four Seasons or a fancy mansion, but it's a little house where she can go and be alone and maybe find her motivation to write again. And she does. She finds her motivation to write again in the way of a muse, and that's where Alyss Winkler comes in. Her character kind of is in the background, a little stealthy at first. You just get little glimpses of her here and there. Uh, as Sally tries to work through the things she needs to work through to get writing again. She tries. And what makes this great for me, being a writer, and I grew up in the 80s and I learned how to write on a manual typewriter. I learned how to type on a manual typewriter. Had typing class in high school and middle school. So it did my heart well to see that Owen's writing room wasn't state of the art. It was an old fashioned manual, got to pound the keys typewriter with a big ass stack of paper right there for Sally to work through. And before she finds her motivation, she's just throwing paper in the garbage can. But with that being said, I love the setup. I'm not going to get into too much with the interactions between the Muse and Sally because there's a lot there, and as a viewer, I don't want to spoil this for you. I want you to watch this movie and kind of judge for yourself. But it the setting is cool because it was isolated, but to me it wasn't desolate, if that makes sense. Um, the cast was top notch, and so was the direction. I've seen Ellie and Alyss in other roles. I've seen Alyss in the Barn 2. She has a great little uh, scene in that movie. So if you haven't seen The Barn 2, you might want to watch The Barn first and then catch up with The Barn 2. Alyss was on our podcast last year, the year before, and we talked about that film. And she's been in several of the films with Ellie. Uh, you know, Plank Face definitely comes to mind for sure. So that was a strange film too. If you go to banditmotionpictures.com, check out the library work. I do know that they put a little blurb on there that this Gush will be available later this summer and on streaming services in the fall. So definitely be on the lookout for this. Um, I don't want to talk too much more about this film, but I will say that Ellie Ellie's emotion, it kind of jumps off the screen and pulls you in. Um, she makes you feel her pain and her angst. And, I've seen her in several films now. Well, more than several. I've seen her in quite a few movies. And she's always been a great actress. But this one was different. It was kind of just on another level for me. And Alyss, with her character's silence in the film, it spoke volumes. And again, I won't go directly into their interactions because I want you to be surprised as a viewer. But needless to say, this 90-minute film flies by in the best of ways. So definitely check it out. Go to banditmotionpictures.com. For me, I give it a 4.5 out of 5. Great movie. Look forward to what they're going to be working on in the future. When it's available for you to pick up, definitely watch it. If you find it on a streaming service somewhere, definitely check it out. But go to banditmotionpictures.com and show some support. They have some other great movies out there. The Bad Band took me off guard a little bit. It's that one. Ellie and Jason were both great in that. And the guy that played the Bad Man, I don't know who the actor's name is right off the top of my head, but he was pretty dang scary. So check that out as well. And you can find my stuff at valleyboypublications.com. All my social media links are there. Horror 421, everything that I have is there. I have a new book coming out later this summer called Three Knocks, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, I do want to get the cast on this podcast. So Ellie, Brian, Jason, Alyss, Scott, any of you guys, all of you guys, I'd love to have you on. So please reach out to me and let me know when I can get you on the schedule because I do want to talk to you guys specifically about this movie and some of your past work. So anyway, thank you again. Take care, and I'll catch you next time on Horror 421, the podcast.